Hello, and welcome back to our channel. Before we dive into yet another fascinating and mysterious stories, I would like to invite you to watch, to like, and subscribe to the channel. Also activate the notification sound. Did you grow up hearing Bible stories that seemed simple? What if I told you they're not simple at all? What if the rainbow in Noah's story isn't just a promise, but a weapon aimed at God Himself? Or that one of the greatest prophets in the Bible raised a child using the strangest method you've ever heard of? Today, we're diving into 5 Bible stories you thought you knew, but each one holds a hidden meaning that might just change how you see God forever. Did you know the rainbow in Noah's Ark hides a tear-jerking meaning, or the Israelite daughters who changed women's history? What about the Bible's weirdest resurrection method? Today, 5 strange deeper meanings in Bible stories. Starting with the rainbow. Rainbows feel mysterious, holding secrets, leprechauns, pots of gold, but the Bible gives it a profound meaning, one that might make you cry. You know the story of Noah's Ark, but there's a deeper layer you likely missed. I found this listening to 40 Minutes in the Old Testament. They break down the Old Testament, bit by bit. When they got to Noah's Ark, I was stunned. After the flood, Noah sacrifices clean animals. God makes a covenant with Noah and all creatures. Never again will all life be destroyed by a flood. God gives a sign to remember this promise, a sign for all people. I have set my rainbow in the clouds. It will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever the rainbow appears, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant. Sounds lovely, right? Well, we might be completely wrong. Rainbow isn't actually a Hebrew word. In the original text, it simply translates to bow. So, what is this bow God is talking about? The word often describes a weapon of war. Sometimes, it represents a nation's military strength. The rainbow verse, after the flood. It could be translated, I have set my bow in the clouds, and it shall be a sign. This gives a deeper meaning. God has retired the weapon of war. No more will He use the bow of wrath. It represents peace between God and man. The war is over, and life abounds. But wait, it gets incredible. If the rainbow is a bow and arrow of wrath, God's bow is now in the sky, drawn tight. Which way is it facing? God's arrow of wrath pointed at earth. Now, it points into the sky. At Himself. The peace between God and man had a cost, and that cost was Jesus. Jesus took God's wrath on the cross, so our peace with Him could be everlasting. Just as He said it would be. Moses, a brilliant, near-flawless man of God, spoke to God face to face. But what if he made a significant mistake? God punished him with death sooner than hoped, an infraction that seems small but reveals Moses' lack of faith. Not just for the Israelites, but for future generations, thousands of years later. The scene Moses in the desert with the Israelites, led them out of Egypt, crossed the Red Sea, saw their Egyptian persecutors swept away, bitter water purified, manna and quail rained down, and they still complained, wanted to stone Moses. Moses called for help. God said to strike a rock with His staff. Drinking water poured out. Sometime later, a similar situation in the wilderness of Zin. Moses struck the rock. Water came out again. Seems consistent. But the second time, God was angry at Moses. So angry Moses paid with his life. Kept him from the promised land the first time. God said, strike. This time, He said, speak to it. Moses hit the rock in rage, immediately rebuked by God. At face value, unfair. But there's more to the story. Something important to notice before. God tells Moses to gather the people and elders to see this miracle. Second instance, Moses, frustrated, almost taunts them. Shall we bring water out of this rock for you? Moses instructed to raise his staff over the Red Sea, put it in the Nile, turn it to blood, throw it down, turn into a snake. Finally, strike the rock. Water would come out. The staff, central to God's miracles through Moses. Perhaps this, with his temper, made it hard to follow through. But a passage in the New Testament gives insight. Jesus spoke in parables. I am the vine, I am the gate, I am the bread of life. Did you know Jesus was described as the rock? Not just any rock, the rock from which living water flows. Jesus said, "Let anyone who is thirsty come to me and drink. Whoever believes in him will have living water flow from them." But that's only part of the answer. Paul says something profound in 1 Corinthians. Paul takes Jesus to our Exodus story. Jesus was the rock in the wilderness. The Israelites drank from him. Now, a final piece of information. It will transform the lives of anyone who hears it, so pay attention. Jesus often spoke in parables, symbolic language, annoying to some, but it's a godly attribute. Jesus said he only spoke his Father's words. With this in mind, consider Moses and the rock in Deuteronomy. God tells Moses to strike the rock once. The rock, that is Jesus, a symbol of God's plan to strike Jesus for our sins, sacrificing him once for all. To provide us with the living water Jesus promised, remember, Jesus struck with a spear. Water flowed out. Not a coincidence. And not a coincidence, Jesus sacrificed once. Only once. God communicated that through Moses, Jesus would be sacrificed once for all. So why did Moses get in trouble for hitting the rock a second time? The second, rock and water symbolize our new relationship with God. Since Jesus died for us, we can now access God's living water simply by speaking to him. The rock has already been struck. The water has been poured out. That same water is readily available. If we humble ourselves before God and enter a relationship with him, one where we can converse and speak and be renewed by the living water he offers. We all know the story of Saul who persecuted Christians, but this story is about another Saul, a tall man, the first anointed king of Israel. But he took on a rarer, more valuable title than king, a title few in history have held. Saul and David started well, got better when David dealt with Goliath, but jealousy overtook Saul. He began to despise David, tried to kill him. David escaped, leaving an idol in his bed. Humiliated and furious, Saul investigated. Learned David fled to Naioth, sent soldiers to arrest him. David met with Samuel. When soldiers arrived, they met Samuel and prophets, prophesying to the Lord, the Spirit of God. Overcame them, they joined the prophets in prophesying. Frustrated, Saul sent 2 more delinquents. Same fate, they started prophesying. Failed to arrest David, Saul had enough. Went to Naioth himself. Something incredible happened. The Spirit of God came upon Saul. He began prophesying to tore off his clothes. Prophesied before reaching Samuel what was going on. Prophets had special symbolic actions. Part of their prophecy, Jeremiah hid a linen belt by the Euphrates. The pretty belt disintegrated, symbolizing Jerusalem's pride. Ezekiel drew a map of Jerusalem, laid siege with miniature engines, symbolized Jerusalem's destruction. Hosea married a prostitute, symbolized God's relationship with rebellious Israel. Now Saul also prophesied, but naked. If other prophets' signs had meaning, surely Saul's is no different. Look at 1 Samuel chapter 15. Saul disobeyed God's command, destroy all the Amalekites, but Saul kept choice livestock alive, including the king of the Amalekites. For this disobedience, God took the kingship in 1 Samuel 19. We see this play out prophetically. Saul prophesied naked, to be naked. He removed his kingly garments. God spoke through Saul himself, saying Saul was stripped of his kingship. The final line is, Saul also among the prophets answered yes, but he prophesied his own fall from power. If you've been here long, you know Elisha asked for a double portion of Elijah's spirit, saw Elijah taken to heaven. God performed many mighty miracles through Elisha, twice as many as Elijah, but one miracle stands out, one meticulously recorded detail, seemingly random purpose. But nothing is random in the Bible. Let's figure out why. After some miracles, a money-hungry servant, Gehazi Elisha lodged with a Shunammite woman. Repaying her kindness, he promised she'd have a firstborn son next year. She was old, didn't believe, but she did give birth to a son. The boy grew, generally good, then complained of extreme head pain, generally bad, went to his father, and reapers. Sore head. Tragically, he died in his mother's lap. Understandably rocked. The Shunammite woman sought Elisha, in faith, for help. What Elisha did was unexpected. Maybe weird. Elisha was completely surprised. She initially told Gehazi all was fine, before throwing herself at Elisha's feet, begging for intervention. It's all so odd, but trust me, it gets weirder. Elisha sent Gehazi ahead to heal the boy, but Gehazi couldn't do it, returned. Boy still dead. Then Elisha did something utterly bizarre. By any standard, the Bible says he laid on the boy, mouth on mouth, eyes on eyes, hands on hands. Somehow, this ritual raised him from the dead. Why this strange method? Why so much physical contact? It seems almost intimate. This intimacy points to a deeper meaning, a profound connection. This miracle foreshadows something incredible, something that involves close, personal connection. Don't think about it. God's miracles often had symbolic meaning. The parting of the Red Sea, manna from heaven, water from the rock, all pointed to a greater truth. So, what does Elisha lying on the boy symbolize? Consider Jesus' ministry. How did he heal people? Sometimes with a word, sometimes with a touch, sometimes in other ways, but his healings always involved connection, a transfer of life, of power. Elisha's actions mirrored this, a desperate act of connection, laying his life, in a sense, upon the boy. To bring back life. This foreshadows the ultimate act of connection. Jesus, fully God and fully man, laying down his life for humanity. His connection with us is intimate. He knows our pain, our suffering. He became like us to save us. The mouth-to-mouth, eye-to-eye, hand-to-hand symbolizes this deep, personal connection. God, with humanity, life breathed back into a lifeless world. The Shunammite woman's son's resurrection, mini-resurrection, pointing to the ultimate resurrection. Through Jesus Christ, a strange method, yes, but one filled with profound meaning, a meaning of intimate connection and restored life. Have you ever heard of the daughters of Zelophehad? Their story might not be as well known, but they single-handedly changed the history of women forever. It's a story of courage, of challenging tradition, and of fighting for what they believed was right. Let's set the scene. The Israelites are in the wilderness, organizing themselves by tribes and families. Inheritance laws are clear. Land passes from father to son, but Zelophehad dies, leaving no sons, only 5 daughters, Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. According to the law, their family's inheritance would disappear, passed to male relatives. These 5 women faced a future without security, without a place in their community's inheritance. But they didn't accept this fate. They did something radical. They approached Moses and the leaders. Standing before the tent of meeting, a bold move for women in that society. They presented their case, respectfully, but firmly. Our father died in the wilderness. He was not among those who rebelled against the Lord, but died for his own sin. Why should our father's name disappear from his clan, just because he had no sons? Let us be given property among our father's relatives. Their plea challenged the established order. It questioned the fairness of the inheritance laws. It demanded recognition for women's rights. Moses, unsure how to respond, brought their case before the Lord, and God's answer was revolutionary. The daughters of Zelophehad are right. You shall indeed give them possession of inheritance among their father's relatives, and transfer their father's inheritance to them. Not only did God grant their request, he established a new law based on their plea. If a man dies without sons, his inheritance passes to his daughters. This decision had far-reaching consequences. It recognized women's right to inherit property. It challenged patriarchal norms. It ensured the continuity of family names through daughters. The daughters of Zelophehad didn't just secure their own future, they paved the way for greater rights for women in Israel. Their courage and their persistence changed history. They stood up for justice. They challenged tradition, and their actions had a lasting impact. Their story reminds us that even seemingly fixed laws can be challenged and changed when fairness demands it. These 5 women, with their simple yet powerful plea, left an indelible mark on the history of women. Their story is a testament to the power of standing up for what is right, even when the odds seem stacked against you. The Bible is full of strange stories, but perhaps none is as bizarre as this resurrection method. It involves a dead man, a chance encounter, and a sudden revival. It's a minor story, almost easily overlooked, but it holds a fascinating detail and potentially a deeper meaning. Let's look at 2 Kings chapter 13. The prophet Elisha has died and been buried. Now some time has passed. Israel is facing raids from Moabite bands. During one such raid, some Israelites are burying a man. Suddenly, they see a band of Moabites approaching. In a panic, they throw the dead man into Elisha's tomb. Yes, you heard that right, into the tomb of a dead prophet. And what happens next is truly strange. As soon as the dead man's body touched Elisha's bones, he came back to life and stood up on his feet. Talk about an unexpected resurrection. A random corpse thrown into a grave revived by contact with the bones of a dead prophet. It's weird, it's unexpected, it's almost comical. But is there more to this than just a strange anecdote? Why is this particular resurrection recorded? What could it possibly signify? Consider Elisha's ministry. God performed many miracles through him. He healed the sick, he multiplied food, he even raised the dead. The Shunammite woman's son Elisha was a powerful prophet, a man through whom God worked extraordinary things. Even in death, it seems his connection to God's power remained. His very bones held a residual life-giving force. But why this bizarre scenario? A chance encounter, a hasty burial? Perhaps it highlights the pervasive power of God. Life can spring forth, even in the most unexpected circumstances, even from death itself. The Moabite raid represents a threat, a moment of fear and desperation. In that moment of crisis, life emerges from death. It's a powerful image, a reminder that even in the darkest times, God's power can bring forth new life. The dead man wasn't seeking resurrection, it was a random, accidental encounter, yet life was restored. This could symbolize God's grace, often undeserved, unexpected, bestowed even in seemingly random moments. The story also highlights the unique role of prophets, men and women so closely connected to God that even their remains could carry a divine spark. It's a testament to the power God can work through individuals, even after they are gone. This strange resurrection in Elisha's tomb might seem like a bizarre footnote in biblical history, but it speaks to the enduring power of God, his ability to bring life from death, and his capacity to work in the most unexpected ways, a reminder that even in the face of death and fear, life, through God's power, can miraculously emerge. So, there you have it, 5 seemingly strange Bible stories, each with a deeper meaning. The rainbow, a retired weapon of wrath. Moses striking the rock, a lesson in our access to God. Saul prophesying naked, a symbolic stripping of power. Elisha's intimate resurrection, a foreshadowing of connection. And a dead man revived by bones, a testament to God's unexpected power. These stories, though sometimes strange, offer profound insights into God's character and his relationship with humanity. They challenge us to look beyond the surface, to seek the deeper truths hidden within the text, and hopefully they've given you a new perspective that might even bring you to tears. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments which story resonated with you the most. Until next time, may you find deeper meaning in the stories you encounter, and may you always be open to the unexpected ways God reveals himself. The Bible isn't just a book of rules or old legends, it's a living message, layered with mystery, symbolism, and divine strategy. If even a rainbow is a weapon turned into peace, what else are we missing? Which story hit you hardest today? Let me know in the comments. I read every one, and if this video opened your eyes even a little, share it. Someone else might need to hear this to. Sometimes the strangest stories hide the deepest truths. Keep looking deeper. God never wastes a detail.